Hello, you guys, and welcome back to our third week of CSI Effect news, I guess. I was actually talking to some of my friends in real life, and they were asking me, so if you talk about the CSI Effect and how it's such a big deal, how is it different from the TV show? And that actually brought up a really good point. So this week, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the differences between CSI and reality. Okay, so first of all, I want to address one of the biggest misconceptions I've ever heard of. On TV, it takes roughly 30 seconds to find the results for DNA matches. That's crazy. Okay? In reality, it takes weeks or months even to find results for DNA samples. It's absolutely insane because we don't have the technology that we need. And another really important thing is that there are actually 200 to 300,000 backup DNA samples that haven't even been tested yet. So court cases have to wait for these results. So if you've ever wondered why someone's case is set like forever from whenever they were actually suspected of the crime, then that would be why. Because they have to take the time to find the evidence, to prove it was this, to do all of these things, and it's absolutely insane. Second, I would like to talk about how often do forensics experts find usable evidence at crime scenes. On TV, you see that it's absolutely 100%. They always find evidence. They're always going to find something, and they're always going to catch the bad guy, because if they didn't, it wouldn't be Hollywood, right? Okay, but in reality, only 5 to 10% of criminal cases are able to have the evidence that they need. That's absolutely awful. And it's not our fault. It's simply the fact that our technology isn't advanced yet. And that just means that a lot of people are either getting away and with their guilt, or they're just having insufficient evidence and they don't get sent for jail for long enough. Another thing I want to talk about is how often are the forensics tests conclusive? So that means how often are they 100% correct? How often do the experts feel completely and totally sure that this is right? Okay? On TV, 100% of the time. There's never an error. They're always perfect, right? But in reality, only 30% of the cases have conclusive forensic tests. That's absolutely insane. And then another thing is, how many people does it take to process a DNA sample? Whenever you're watching CSI or NCIS, I'll use NCIS for example, Abby does everything. She is a one-woman forensics machine. She's absolutely crazy. She can run DNA. She can analyze videos. She can do all of these things. But in reality, just for one of those things, it takes anywhere from 2 to 8 people looking at that piece of evidence just to get a conclusive result. Another big thing is how conclusive is CODIS. And that's their giant DNA database that they use on these TV shows and in real life. This is how they catch potential criminals. But on TV shows, it's the entire United States population. That is 325 million people. That's a lot of people. And that's how big that database is. But in reality, it's only 3.3 million people. There are a lot of people out there who we don't have their fingerprints, their DNA, their anything. And we have to go out and find that. Okay, and another really big one that kind of annoys me is the fact that on CSI, the investigators can go to the crime scene in these beautiful, beautiful Hummers, and then they talk to people and they investigate people and they interrogate, and they also go on sting operations. And that's just not realistic because whenever you're hired to be a CSI, you are hired to do one thing and one thing only. Like, for instance, you can be a ballistics, which would mean that you're looking at ammo, you're looking at guns, and you're looking at like how they shot and the diameter or the radius from where they were shot from. And it's really interesting stuff, but you're just in one field. That's it. If you want to be an interrogation officer, then that's something totally different from forensics, you guys. Let's try not to get that confused, okay? But the only thing that I will say that CSI and Law and Order and such, they got pretty much correct is the fact that whenever you're in a CSI unit or a forensics unit, you work together cohesively. You have to work together absolutely perfectly for anything to get done. Because you have to think about it, they have to pass DNA samples from one person to the other. And eventually they have to come up with a conclusion, right? So they work together very, very well. And that is something that I am quite proud of Hollywood for getting correct. Thank you guys. I'll see you again next week.